Recorded. All right, my name is Alex Taylor. I would like to welcome all the North American ACT certified consultants to our debut of Sage ACT Hosted. This is our introductory webinar debuting our new hosted offering to the North American Certified Consultant channel. Very excited to tell you the details about it. I think you'll find the content and the offering very compelling. So with that, let's jump right in. Again, my name is Alex Taylor. I'm the ACT National Channel Sales Manager. And what we'll be talking about today at a high level is our new Sage ACT hosted offering. Now, before we kind of drill down to it, let's talk about it from a solution layout perspective. First and foremost here, our core offerings, as many of you know, is Sage ACT on-premise licensing. We also work on a Sage ACT subscription model, and what we're talking about today is the Sage ACT hosted offering. There's also, of course, currently connected services. So there's Sage eMarketing for ACT, Sage ACT Connect, Sage Business Information Services for ACT, and of course the complementary third-party services that include add-ons, our ACT certified consultants such as you that do fantastic services and work, and of course our preferred hosting partner provider. These are our current hosting solution ACCs, and they do a wonderful job. They offer virtual desktops. They host all versions of ACT. And so this is the kind of solution landscape, so to speak. Further to that point is that I want to spend a minute explaining our current offering and then where Sage ACT Hosted fits. So as you know, if you're looking at the screen here, there's Sage ACT Pro, there's Sage ACT Premium, there's the HPP offering. Again, that's the hosted partner providers. Those are 12 fantastic partners that do virtual desktop. They host ACT for you. They can do web, they can do Windows, and many often do older versions of ACT. Where Sage ACT Hosted fits, is what we'll be talking about today, is kind of in between there. It's after ACT Pro. It's not quite the Sage ACT Premium Windows offering. It is really going to be ACT in the cloud available for you and your end customers. So let's talk about what specifically is Sage ACT Hosted. So what it is, it's a one-year customer contract with Sage for delivery of services. There's a minimum of 3 users per customer. It includes ACT Premium for web and Sage ACT Premium mobile client across hosted Sage ACT databases. So again, it's ACT for web. It's our brand new offered HTML5 Sage ACT mobile solution, which of course works on your iPad, your iPhone, any mobile device. The Sage ACT Hosted is the latest offering of Sage ACT Premium, so currently that's Sage ACT 2012. Again, it's web. Users have the option to access their ACT database when they are offline with a dual access setup. So we'll talk more about that in a little bit, but in essence that means it's ACT for web 2012 Premium, but also you can have an offline client with dual access setup should you wish. The back-end provider is a company called iStructure Technology, who is certified in ACT, and they provide the network and technical infrastructure that operates the Sage ACT hosted service. The software licensing model and hosting service is bundled together for a per month or monthly per user fee. The benefits to the end customer is there is no upfront software fees, nor is there an in-house network cost. So again, we'll drill down a bit more specifics, but at a high level, it's a one-year partner contract, one-year customer contract, minimum 3 users per. It's ACT Premium for web, but of course you would get the mobile offering, and you have the ability to have an offline client. Obviously, we have to have the obligatory network slide, and so this is a high-level diagram from a kind of a sales engagement, how it works, or business consulting engagement, from the Sage-supported infrastructure, including your ACT certified consultant activities, and again, we'll talk more in future slides of how that all works. But this is a network diagram that gives you a very high-level overview of the architecture of the hosted offering. Okay, speaking of price here, is that for the per-user price, this is pricing and term commitment, the offering is $50 per user per month. We will have volume discounts. It's the Sage ACT software licensing, the latest version of Sage ACT Premium. It, of course, includes web access database setup, unlimited Sage ACT hosting technical support, and if your client would like an offline setup, it's just a $119 per client, but it's a one-time setup fee. It's the same price for new or install-based users. And again, the additional charge is an optional charge setup fee is the one-time offline client setup fee. That's $119. As we mentioned earlier, the term of commitment is 1-year contract. There is an early termination fee. If you terminate after 2 months of service, the customer is billed quarterly, and monthly billing is available with management approval. Now, rules of engagement. Again, we'll talk a little bit more about this in the next few slides, but again, at a high level, you as the ACT certified consultant have the ability to quote and propose Sage Act hosted to your end customer. And the Sage Act sales team can help you. That's typically the ACT account executive or myself, Alex Taylor. If the customer moves forward, the end customer places the order directly with Sage, and instantly the ACT certified consultant, that's you, becomes the ROR or reseller of record, and you are noted as such with once the partner goes hosted. Now let's get to the good part, is that you as the ACT certified consultant receive commission credit from Sage for 12 months of service up front. So in other words, it's a year contract, and the end customer may be paying us monthly or quarterly. You, as the consultant, get paid a year's worth of commission up front in the very first month, the entire year. Moreover, year 2, when they renew, you also get paid commission on there. The ACC, of course, retains contact with the end customer. You'll have the ability to do services and customization. So for the certified consultants on the call, this is an incredible upside for you, is that you quote the customer places the order directly with Sage, you instantly become the resale record, you receive commission for the entire first year up front. Year 2, you also get that as well, and you still, services are key for consultants, have access to offer that end customer services and customization. Well, now that I've got your attention, let's talk a bit more about commission. So what we mean by commission is that every ACT certified consultant that sells a hosted deal, you'll receive a flat fee commission of 20%. That's regardless of your tier level. So it doesn't matter if you're bronze, gold, or platinum, you'll receive a flat commission rate of 20%, and that's for every Sage ACT hosted customer that you brought to us. And again, you receive full payment for the entire year up front. So we have an example here. It's per user, as we covered earlier. It's $50 per user. So if you look at it, just 3 users. So 3 users, that's $150 times 12 months. So overall net is $1,800. That's per year, 3 users. You as the ACC in month 1 get a commission check or credit for $360. Moreover, you also get tier credit, meaning the $1,800 amount goes toward your bronze or gold or platinum level, and also it accrues toward your co-op. Co-op is money that you accrue when you sell Sage ACT, and you can redeem it for things like marketing activities, road shows. So again, just recapping here, this is a critical thing for you to be aware of. You get 20% commission for every paying Sage ACT hosted customer. You receive a year's worth of commission up front in month 1. Moreover, it goes toward your tier level, your ranking, and you accrue co-op, just like you would normally do if we're on-premise software. But I'm not done yet. Wait, it gets better. As long as the end customer stays on Sage ACT hosted, including year 2 and beyond, you as the ACT certified consultant, the reseller record, receive ongoing commissions, ongoing tier credit, and ongoing co-op accrual. There really is no downside here. It does not disrupt your current service offerings. You can still sell on-premise software. But as far as from a compensation model, commission, tier, co-op, paid all up front, and year 2 and beyond, you get that as well, and you're the resale record. I mean, it really is a fantastic opportunity for ACT certified consultants. So if you haven't looked at offering hosted solutions or cloud solutions in the past, I strongly encourage you to look at this. In fact, the CCs we've chatted with initially have already been very excited about it, and we'll talk a bit more down a few slides later. The pilot we've done internally has brought us really, really good success so far. So again, this is kind of the key slide for you to take away. So moreover, I know many ACCs are thinking, that's great, Alex, but what are my opportunities for consulting? We're very cognizant of the fact that many ACCs, while they appreciate revenue for margin, they also like the ability to get consulting revenue. So you're not going to lose that opportunity with Hosted ACT. So for the entire engagement, when you sell a customer the Sage Hosted Act, it still can include training. You can bill a customer, customization, data migration, business consulting, cloud-based solutions. Something I think for CCs I want you to be aware of, and this is from Forbes, 1/3 of all IT budgets are now moving to the cloud. So in cloud right now I was actually at the Ingram Micro. Ingram Micro is the world's largest distributor. They're $30 billion in revenue, $30 billion with a B in revenue. It's a few months back, and I was in their kind of annual symposium, and I think it was their CEO got up and he said, the 3 hottest spaces right now in technology are cloud, tablets, and mobility. The fastest growing areas, this is regardless of software or technical or hardware, is cloud, tablet, and mobility. And you can see it from Forbes. 1/3 of all IT budgets are moving to the cloud. What this means to you as a consultant is that you can, using Sage Act Hosted as the initial attachment point, engage the end customer and ingrain your services to help them get other solutions into the cloud. Many customers are looking for cloud-based expertise guidance for all of their solutions. Use Sage Act Hosted as a catalyst for that conversation. You become their kind of on-premise expert for cloud solutions using Act as the initial starting point, and say, hey, we're also looking at storage going to the cloud. What do you recommend? And, of course, on top of this, you get one more time, you get the hosted commission of 20%, you get tier credit, and, of course, get co-op credit. But I want the ACCs on the call to know that you still will have the ability to garner service income and training and consulting income as you do now with your on-premise software. Okay, let's spend a few minutes about competitive selling points. So first and foremost is that, okay, Alex, I kind of get it, I understand what's going on, but how do I position this to my end customers? Many ACCs are skilled salespeople, but obviously we spent the bulk of our time together selling on-premise software. So some things to consider when you're talking to an end customer about Sage Act Hosted is that first and foremost, being hosted in the cloud reduces the barrier to entry for sale. They have the offline client ability. The model is not consumption-based, and there's no bait and switch. They can take their database with them. And here's an interesting metric if you look below, quote to close. So these are actual metrics. So many of you know we've been piloting Sage Act Hosted Direct for the last 6 months. These are the Act Account Executives, and they've been selling it. We haven't had a whole lot of marketing air cover yet. We purposely have not kind of done any advertising because we wanted to, as they say, make sure this dog can hunt. These metrics that you're seeing right now on the slide are actual metrics of people that we first quoted and how soon did they actually purchase. They're really quite extraordinary. The average on-premise Act sales cycle is between 2 weeks to a month. That's average. So from approximate days to quote to close, that's quote to close, for hosted, 25% closed on the same day. 1 to 3 days, 50%. And 1 to 15 days, so within 2 weeks, 75%. That is much more faster than the current on-premise quote-to-close ratio. And beyond 1 to 30 days, 90% went forward with the cloud. And over 30 days, only 10%. So you look at this, it really shows kind of the accelerant that Sage Act Hosted can do for your sales cycle. And the reason there is it can reduce barrier to entry per month. The one other thing that's not perhaps reflected in here is that many customers are looking at the software model from kind of an expenditure, monthly expenditure versus a capital expenditure. And so typically on-premise software when you buy it is seen as accrued as a capital expense versus an operating expense. When you have something done monthly, you can often, from an accounting standpoint, reflect it as an operating expense. That is generally a little bit easier on budgets. It's not, from an accounting standpoint, there's some tax benefits as well. So not reflected here, but many folks are looking for, hey, can I somehow acquire software from an operating expense standpoint versus a capital expenditure? And this is one of the competitive selling points here is that, yes, they can do that. This is one of the advantages. But the point here to leave with you is just look at that quote-to-close ratio. That is stunning. That is much, much faster than even our best sales rep does as far as on-premise software. Okay, so I've got your attention now. We've talked about the offering at a high level. We've talked about your commission model. We've talked about some competitive points as, why customers would like this type of offering. Now let's talk about, okay, I'm interested, Alex, what do I do next? So first and foremost, step one, you've done the right thing. You've either attended this webinar or are listening to the recording. So step one, which is required, attend the Sage Act hosted Part 1 training, which is this one. Understand the components of the offering at a high level. Step two, now this is really important. It is actually mandatory. Attend the Sage Act hosted Part 2 training webcast on May 25th, which will be limited to 50 ACCs per session. And we'll have multiple sessions that day for you to attend, and I'll be sending the ACCs who are interested an invitation to that. Part of step two is passing a light certification. Now don't worry, this isn't the recertification you had to take a month or two ago, which was pretty in-depth. A light certification, probably 20, 25 questions, just so you understand the basic components of the offering. There are some subtle differences to it, Act-hosted versus on-premise software. So we just want to make sure you understand the basic components of the offerings, how to understand, how to quote it. And then the final step is step three, is participate in an iStructure Technology introduction and onboarding call. You'll confirm your access to the toolkit. You'll get the price list, and you will receive authorization to resell Sage Act Hosted. So if you're listening to this recording or you attend the webinar, you have completed step one, and I want to thank you for attending here. Step two, email me, and we'll cover that in a second if you'd like to attend that, but that is required. I want folks to understand the call is that if you don't attend step 1, 2, or 3, you will not have the ability to resell Sage Act Hosted. Okay, so you're interested. Step 2, what needs to happen? If you're interested, drop me a note. Again, Alex Taylor. My email is alex.taylor@sage.com to request a seat. But please hurry. May 25th is coming up very, very quickly. It's before actually the holiday. We did that. The reason we did that on May 25th, which is a Friday, the ACCs, of course, prefer taking these types of things on a Friday because your consulting is generally wrapped up by week's end. But don't wait. Email me as soon as you can if you'd like to attend. And I will send you an email invitation to attend Part 2 of the training webinar. And from there, again, you will be required to pass a light certification. Okay, well, before I wrap things up, I just want to say thank you all for your interest in this offering. Quite a few ACCs before this webinar have been asking me, hey, Alex, when are you going to tell us about this offering? We've been piloting this internally direct for the last 6 months, and the reason for that, again, just for the ACCs on the call, we just wanted to make sure it worked. And it makes sense conceptually. When you roll out, you typically do a phased rollout, right, with a client. You don't try and do everything and go everywhere at one time. So for the last 6 months, we've been piloting this internally, direct only, with very little advertising. And if nothing else, the response and success rate that the direct team has had, just basically 8 or 10 account executives with no air cover, has been tremendous. While I can't share with you the exact revenue figures, we've already achieved our revenue goal for the entire year for Sage Act Hosted Direct in 6 months, and the first month is really just kind of getting started. The demand has been astronomical, and I'll age myself or date myself here, but when I think about this, it's interesting that hosted or cloud offerings have been around for a while. Remember in the late 1990s, there was application service providers, ASPs we called them back then, and then SaaS, kind of mid-2000s software as a service, and now, in 2012, cloud has really taken a foothold. And it's interesting that from what we've seen internally in our own sales efforts, that it's finally igniting, I guess. That's really the best term for it. That for Ingram Micro, like I said earlier, a $30 billion company based distributed in the world, and this is our own empirical data. This isn't some trend, or they're not an analyst. Their biggest growth across all products, hardware, software, you name it, it's not CRM specific, cloud, tablet, and mobile. With this, that trifecta, I guess you could say, is you will now have the ability to offer Sage Act Hosted, get tier margin, co-op, cash, consulting, reoccurring revenue, and of course with our now premium mobile solution available on iPads, on iPhones, on tablets. You will have that offering. You can still do on-premise software. You can still do consulting, but I strongly encourage you to kind of come with us here, as that we've done a ton. This entire program has been really been from concept to execution. It's taken about almost 3 years, and so we've done a lot of research here. So if you haven't considered this before, please, as your channel advocate internally, I encourage you to look at the solution. Email me, alex.taylor@sage.com, if you'd like to attend round 2. I do encourage that. And again, it's net new revenue, it's upside. You're not cannibalizing your existing on-premise software. But many customers will say, hey, you offer a hosted solution. I need to buy it as an operating expense versus capital expenditure. And you can say, yes, we can. And you can have it on your tablet and your iPhone and your mobile device. And so it's ready. You know, it's been a while, but I think now is the time. And on our success rate, the revenue we've seen from it just direct in a limited pilot with no real additional air cover for marketing has been beyond our wild expectations. So for the CCs on the webinar today, thank you so much for attending. I do encourage you to look at this. Please email me if you'd like to attend. Seats are limited. Supplies are limited. That's May 25th, and there'll be 3 sessions that day, which is a Friday, of course. So again, thank you all for your time and attention today. I look forward to working with you, and I will see you all in part 2 on Friday, May 25th. Thank you all again. With that, we will conclude today's webinar.